Today we are discussing a topic that has everyone talking, the recent increase in fuel prices, which has added an extra 9 shillings per litre. Why do fuel costs continue to rise? Why are we paying more than our neighbours in Uganda or South Africa? Most importantly, will it ever improve? I will explain the real reasons behind these numbers. Following the recent review by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, the cost of fuel in Kenya is now an everyday conversation for most. Whether you're driving or taking a taxi, the struggle is shared. So, what's the reason for the higher fuel cost in Kenya? Yes, you guessed it right, taxes. VAT is the most well-known, but there are also at least 7 other taxes levied on fuel in Kenya. The result? 40% of what you pay for at the pump is just tax. Simply put, out of every 10 shillings you pay for a litre of fuel, 4 shillings goes to taxes. Let's compare that with a few other countries. In America, the highest fuel tax is 14%, while in South Africa, it's at 30%. How exactly did we get here? Buckle up and let's go for a ride. Kenya introduced VAT in 1990 at a rate of 17% to replace the 3% sales tax. Back then, Kenya was broke, and the IMF lent it money on condition, among them, higher taxes. What does this mean? You said VAT was introduced in 1990. It's a little confusing. The pain at the pump was then postponed twice. In 2018, the rains finally caught up with us. But a compromise saw VAT capped at 8%, not 16%. Enter the Finance Act 2023, and out goes the compromise. And since then, the taxes have kept the cost of fuel up. But that is not all that is keeping the prices of fuel up currently. 3 other things have happened in the last review. First, the government has denied consumers relief at the pump for the second consecutive month after it opted not to tap the fuel subsidy to prevent prices from shooting up. The subsidy has at times prevented pump prices from rising by upwards of 9 shillings per litre of diesel, 7 shillings per litre of petrol, and 8 shillings per litre of kerosene. The landing cost of petrol in May was 76.83 shillings, while this rose to 81.88 shillings in June. For diesel, the landing cost in May was 75.43 shillings, while in June, the price was 80.22 shillings. For kerosene, the cost was 73.80 in May and 79.42 in June. The third factor is that the margins for oil marketing companies have also been increased in the latest review by EPRA. The margins on petrol have been increased to 17.39 shillings per litre from 15.24 shillings the previous month, while those for diesel have gone up to 17.32 shillings per litre from 15.16 shillings. For kerosene, the OMC margins have risen to 17.24 shillings per litre from 15.09 shillings in the June 15 to July 14 cycle. So here's the thing. High fuel costs drive costs of everyday commodities up, and this gets the voters hungry and angry. That's why governments are always trying to find ways to keep the fuel costs down. But when the coffers run low, the government fails to subsidize, as has happened in the last 2 cycles. So many interventions, many quick fixes, but what is never reviewed downwards is the tax. So as long as the taxes remain a huge component of the price markup, we will be here for a very, very long time. Now you know that there are at least 8 taxes levied on fuel in Kenya, and out of every 10 shillings you pay for a litre of fuel, 4 shillings go towards taxes. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Milk your profits, uncovering the hidden wealth of a well-managed dairy farm.
Earn it, spend it, save, invest. Moolah, kila siku waste that moolah, make more bila stress.